Parents of Reddit, what lessons have you tried to teach your kids that completely backfired? Story 1. One of my 5-year-old twins was still having occasional accidents because she would get so caught up in playing or doing something else that she just wouldn't go and would pee her pants. To combat this, we would give her a special prize of some variety when she wouldn't have an accident. This, in turn, caused her twin sister to start having accidents so that she could get prizes for not having accidents, even though she was fine on this front beforehand. We had to rethink our methods. My grandpa and my parents would make me go to the toilet every night before bed, no matter what. Sometimes I'd be sleeping and they'd wake me up, take me to the toilet, wake me up when I fell asleep sitting on the toilet, put me back in bed, and sleep with no worries. Always before bedtime, and any trip that puts you more than 3 minutes from a bathroom. Took a while to learn that lesson. Story 2. My parents taught me to call 911 when I saw somebody doing something illegal. I called the cops on the Wiggles movie I was watching when I was 5 because a clown stole a cake. Luckily, the 911 operator realized I was young. My story didn't make sense because it was a kid's movie. Asked to talk to my mom before sending out the cops. When I was 11, I once called the FBI because I felt I had information on a serial killer. I didn't. I just thought I did. When the FBI answered, I got spooked and hung up. The FBI called back. Keep in mind, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and my mom answered the phone. Hello, this is Special Agent Kim with the FBI, and I believe your son just called us. That's not a call you want from the FBI at 2 a.m. about your 11-year-old son, who last you saw was in his room going to sleep several hours ago. I sat in my room waiting for my parents to call for me. They did. They were not pleased that I had called the FBI without speaking to them first. Oh shit. They were the serial killers. Story 3. When I was about 2 years old, my family was at a game in the Angel Stadium. My mother went to the restroom and left me and my siblings with my dad. While he was busy watching, I wandered off. When they eventually found me, I was halfway down the stadium. A crowd had gathered to watch as a police officer held me out at arm's length while I screamed, "Call the police! This man is not my daddy!" over and over again. My parents had taught me stranger danger, but forgot to teach me what police look like. Story 4. Taught my now 16-year-old to always compliment people who insult you. We were in a Burlington coat factory in Michigan when my mother was shopping for a bathing suit to take to Florida. There were a few to choose from, so she was complaining. My kid was 4. A woman trying on pants said something rude to my mom, who was asking my opinion, and my daughter caught on that my mother was agitated. She squeezed out behind me and told the woman, "Your teeth are such a pretty yellow." I can't tell if she knew what she was really doing, but super awesome either way. Story 5. Saw a clip on our local news about a toddler saving her mom's life by calling 911 when she was collapsed. Figured it was a good idea to teach my toddler 911. Had 2 cops at my door 5 minutes later. Story 6. I tried the whole have your kids quote chores for pay and bid against one another. It's supposed to teach them about working for their money and not expecting handouts like an allowance. It turned into every time I asked them to do something, I good, "How much will you pay me?" My parents had very clear lines about, "These are your chores and you do them because you are a part of the family, and these are the things we are willing to pay you to do because they are either horrific or something we'd be willing to pay a professional to do." Hence that summer I got paid like $300 to clean up all that pigeon shit in the barn. Story 7. My kids were begging for a pet. I don't want to take care of a pet, and I told them that they don't clean up after themselves without me hassling them, so why would they clean up after a pet without me hassling them? Told them that if they could keep the room clean for 6 months without me telling them, they could get a pet. Youngest child proceeds to clean room, then moves clothes and sleeping bag into the hallway and locks his doors so his room can't get dirty as he sleeps in the hallway. Kids are so fucking maliciously compliant sometimes, it's fucking great. Story 8. When my son was about 3 or 4, he started to ask about how babies are born. I set him down and gave him a very simple, age-appropriate explanation. He just looked at me, shook his head, and said, "No." Very calmly, but in a "I can't believe you think that's how it works" tone of voice, like I told him fake news. I was prepared for difficult questions, and even prepared for the fact that he might ask me some things that even I didn't know. But I was completely unprepared for him just to simply not believe me when I told him the truth. I just sat there not knowing what to do while he went back to playing Lego. Story 9. My dad tried to implement the whole "you must eat all the food on your plate" in our house during meals. My mom was never a fan of that lesson, but my dad was stubborn, so she just let it go. Well, one day my sibling had 2 to 3 bites of food left on their plate, and it was very clear they were absolutely full and couldn't eat another bite. Dad wasn't having it and insisted they could not leave the table until all the food on their plate was gone. My sibling realized they weren't going to convince our dad that they were too full and finished the last few bites and then proceeded to vomit on the table and our dad. He stopped enforcing the rule after that. Story 10. My niece and nephew used the bathroom before bedtime as an excuse to prolong bedtime. Every night without fail, "I have to go poop." "You just went to the bathroom, plus you pooped earlier today." "But I have to go poop." Proceeds to sit on the toilet for 10 minutes and does nothing. I see your niece and nephew also go on Reddit. Story 11. Read a book that suggested you ask your kid what an appropriate punishment for misbehaving would be and then carry it out. 6-year-old son pinched his brother or something, so we asked what an appropriate punishment would be. He said, "Pluck out my eyeballs and throw me over a cliff." We didn't follow through and stopped reading parenting books. He called your bluff. He owns you now. You should have followed through for his own good. But what if the kid lives and grows up to overthrow me? Story 12. I taught them to stand up for what they believe in. All of a sudden, they believe veggies were the devil and bedtime should be abolished. Story 13. We will tear down the oppressive establishment piece by piece. Story 14. Overthrow the monarchy, free the people. Story 15. Not a parent, but as a child, I noticed my sister was writing her name on the walls when she was drawing on them with crayon. Taking on the role of helpful big sister, I informed her that if she's going to graffiti things, she shouldn't write her name and give herself away. A few weeks later, she was carving patterns into the wooden desk in the study and carved my name into it instead. I remember in 3rd grade getting in trouble for putting graffiti on the school wall. The artist had signed it with my first name, which is a fairly common name. I was both outraged at the false accusation and offended that they thought I was that stupid. Story 16. Mine tried to unionize because I asked them to clean the rooms. Story 17. Nanny, not a parent. 2-year-old was refusing to wear her hat. It was hot. I told her that if she didn't put on her hat, she would have to wait in the car. She started walking away from me. Where are you going? Car. Story 18. When my daughter was young, I was trying to teach her the value of money and decided to start giving her an allowance. She had a few tasks to do around the house, and afterwards, on the weekends, before we would go out, I would give her $5. I explained that because she helped out and did her chores, she had earned money to spend on whatever she wanted. She happily accepted and stashed her money in her room. I thought nothing of it. Later that evening, before I tucked her into bed after reading to her, she goes to her money jar, pulls out $2, and hands it to me, and explains, "That is for being a good daddy."